It's the circle of remaking. We have an animated classic and makes lots of money. And then we wait a few years and we make a live action remake with computer CG and it's frame by frame. Totally lifeless, but it's the circle of remaking, which will make Disney a lot of money. The Lion King 2019, directed by Jon Favreau, the man that directed the first two Iron Man movies. He directed the Jungle Book remake, and now he's directing this artificial CGI remake of The Lion King. This movie stars James Earl Jones as Mufasa. We got Donald Glover as Simba, Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar, Alfred Woodward as Sarabi, who I believe is Simba's mom, John Oliver as Zazu, the bird, John Connie as Rafiki, the baboon, the monkey, J.D. McCary as young Simba, Shada W. Joseph as young Nala, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa, Billy Eichner as Timon, Beyonce as adult Nala, and I couldn't find all the names of the hyenas. I know Jordan and Peele are two of the hyenas. I didn't know who played the female hyena. I couldn't get that name from IMDb. But that's pretty much all the cast I could find, and that is the Lion King 2019 cast. Let's talk about this remake. Now, you know what the Lion King is all about. It's about how Simba, a lion, becomes king of the Pride Lands. It is very much like Hamlet. He watches his father, Mufasa, played by James Earl Jones, die, gets framed for his murder by his uncle Scar, voiced by Chiwetel Ejiofor. Young Simba runs away, meets Timon and Pumbaa. He grows up with Timon and Pumbaa, comes back to face his past and win back what's rightfully his, win back his right to be king of the Pride Lands from Scar, and that's pretty much our movie. Now, I love the animated classic. This is a great movie. It's one of the best Disney animated films of all time. It's from the Disney Renaissance. This is an excellent movie. So hearing that they were going to remake it, since they're doing this trend of remaking animated classics, I didn't know if I was going to like this idea, even with the fact that they got Jon Favreau, the director of the Jungle Book remake, to remake this movie. I still didn't know if I was going to like this because I haven't liked all the Disney remakes. I didn't like Dumbo. I didn't like Cinderella. I didn't like the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movies. I didn't like Maleficent. I didn't like Beauty and the Beast. Hearing about this, and also after what happened with Aladdin as well, I didn't like Aladdin that much. I was afraid I wasn't going to like this movie. And I actually checked a couple reviews before I went to see this movie to find out what they did to it, what they changed. And I was already hearing the changes, and I didn't like the changes. I didn't like what they did. It felt like they cut it way too much, even though I heard they added a few things. I don't totally like this movie. It is not The Lion King I remember. It's artificial, doesn't feel like the classic at all, doesn't have the energy of the classic. I don't see if anybody's praising this movie, how they could be praising this movie, how they could love this film. It just doesn't feel worthy of that love like the animated film does. Let's talk about the positives of this thing, because this movie is not a complete piece of garbage in my opinion. First off, A lot of the CG does look very good. The animals do look pretty good. The voice work is great. I do like the fact that they brought back James Earl Jones as Mufasa. I did like Donald Glover as Simba. I like Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar. Timon and Pumbaa were the best parts of the movie. I liked John Oliver as Zazu. A couple times I thought his voice was a little bit off, but I thought he was pretty good. I did like the young Nala and the young Simba. Although young Simba, his voice sounded a little bit high. I guess they wanted to make it feel a bit more realistic, like a realistic lion cub. And I did like the way the hyenas were done. There was a fourth hyena that was not in this movie. I heard Ed was not in this movie, and yeah, only 3 of the hyenas were in this movie. You had the female hyena, you had 2 of the funny male hyenas, but the fourth one, the one that's silent, was not in the movie. Let's talk about the negatives. Let's talk about the problems. Oh my, do we have a lot of problems. First off, the songs were shortened. The songs are not as long as they were in the animated film. Now, for some extent, I can understand, like when they get to I Can't Wait to Be King, you don't see the animals doing this big dance in the movie. That's understandable because animals can't do that in live action, so it's totally fine. I thought what they did with What I Want to Be King was good. I thought what they did with Hakuna Matata, I thought that was pretty good, even though it didn't feel like it had as much energy in the movie as it did in the animated classic. I thought it was okay. But then we got to Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Can You Feel the Love Tonight felt more like Can You Feel the Love in the Afternoon, or Can You Feel the Love Today? Because it was played in the daytime. There was no point where it got dark and it actually felt like nighttime. How can you play Can You Feel the Love Tonight in the daytime? That's such a contradiction. And then there's Be Prepared, which is such an iconic song, one of the best villain songs. They shortened that song. I understand cutting out the part where the hyenas are tramping around like they're Nazis. I understand taking that part out of the movie, but the song doesn't feel as grand as it did in the animated classic. And then there's Rafiki. Oh, what have you done to Rafiki? This guy is supposed to be Yoda to Simba. He's supposed to be the guy that helps Simba become king. Teaches Simba how to deal with his past. And he does do a little bit of that, but he doesn't do the bonk knocking on Simba's head. That part where he knocks his staff on Simba's head, none of the movie. I was so shocked you cut that out of the movie. That's one of the most important character building parts of making Simba king. I got the sense knocked in my head. I got the bump in my head to prove that. Remember that phrase? That's not in the movie. I couldn't believe they cut that part out. That's such an important part. And so much of what else they cut out just takes a lot of what makes this movie great. There were points of this movie where it felt lifeless, where it didn't feel like it had the same energy like the anime classic did. And comparing this to Jungle Book was such a better movie. Jungle Book was not perfect, but it was a good movie. I did like that movie. This movie is not as half as good as Jungle Book. It is such a disappointment. My expectations were low and I still did not get my expectations met from this film. So I'm sorry, I just didn't like this movie. I'm gonna give this movie a C-. This movie is so forgettable. It is not good. I don't recommend this movie, but I know people are going to go see it anyway. Personally, I say wait for it to rent if you're going to go see it. But I know people are going to go see it to the theater anyway, so that's all I got to say. I think there are better movies to see that are out. Like, go see Spider-Man Far From Home, but don't see this movie. This was a disappointment.